We're rounding a new turn.
Welcome back. I'm Kelsey and this is my good buddy Hugh. First up is Elizabeth with headlines.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth and today I'm your headline anchor. In the Philippines, there are illegal cockfights. Scientists recently found out that a cock is a major way of spreading the COVID. On October 27th, an officer Block and his partner were shutting down an illegal cockfight. The officer was killed by a cocker, also known as a rooster. The bird struck an artery and he died in the ambulance due to blood loss. Given how divided we are, President Trump's criticism of mail-in ballots and his signaling that he might not accept the results, voter suppressions in some states, the evidence that some so-called poll watchers plan to bring guns to the polls, and the possibility that we may not have conclusive results election night. Several human rights and conflict resolution groups who usually work in developing countries without strong traditions of peaceful elections are gearing up to work in the United States for the first time to prevent violence. Hara Balin, director of the Conflict Resolution Program at the Carter Center, said, "We look for early signs so that we can come up with early interventions before all hell breaks loose. We here at the Flock are hoping for fair and peaceful elections." Elkhart County in northern Indiana is known as the RV capital of the world. Just days before the election, COVID-19 infections in the county are exploding. "There's no help coming before the election," said Lydia Mertez, the county's health officer, calling the current situation extremely alarming. Now back to Kelsey.
Next up, we've got Owen with sport.
Hello Eagles, my name is Owen and I'm here with your sports update this week. Fall sports is coming to an end. That means winter sports are starting up. Archery and basketball are practicing to start up for their winter sports. And if you want to watch, make sure you go to the girls' gym tomorrow at noon to watch the scrimmage. Back to your anchor.
Good luck, Lady Eagles. Now we have candidate comparison. Our reporters have researched 2 candidates' positions on the COVID, the economy, racial relations, and climate policy.
So, as you all know, we are familiar with COVID. I'm here to give you what each candidate thinks about COVID. For Biden, he has a solid plan, and it goes something like this: restoring trust, credibility, and common purpose, mounting an effective national emergency response that saves lives and protects the frontline workers, minimizes the spread of COVID-19, eliminating cost barriers for prevention and care of COVID-19, pursuing decisive economic measures and to help hard-hit workers, families, and small businesses and to stabilize the American economy, rallying the world to comfort this crisis while laying the foundation for the future, that he will make sure that the United States will have a plan. Now, President Trump's point of view. President Trump's plan is a little different. His plan is to create a vaccine that will help and will not cause any other health issues to people with COVID-19 and is safe for all. And he will do everything in his power to create this vaccine. And a few quotes from him. "Ultimately, our goal is not merely to manage the pandemic, but to end it," Trump said. Nothing as a top priority of his administration is developing and distributing an effective vaccine. Trump also said, in the process of developing a strategy to combat the coronavirus pandemic, adding that the plan of his actions has developed as we go along, were his exact words. Trump repeated in a news conference his belief that the virus will disappear as it appeared. He also said that, quite frankly, we are rounding a new turn for this coronavirus. And he also, let's remember that Trump shut down our trading with China to help save lives from this coronavirus. And the voters will decide on who is the best candidate to help stop the coronavirus and who has the better plan.
Another important topic on these two candidates is the economy. President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden both have very few agreements, but many disagreements. The economy branches off into many different topics of its own. This discussion is mainly focused on infrastructure. Key takeaways from this topic: both Trump and Biden want infrastructure bills worth more than $1 trillion. Democrats want infrastructure spending and coronavirus stimulus bills, and Republicans do not. And Biden's plan focuses on climate change as well. Trump's stance on this infrastructure topic: alongside an infrastructure bill, allegedly there's a bipartisan support for a bill worth $2 trillion, a big and bold plan as part of a COVID relief. When asked how the U.S. would fund another massive package, he cited the low borrowing rates. He has not yet provided details for his plan. His addendum mentions winning the 5G race and establishing a national high-speed wireless internet network and sending the first manned mission to the moon. Biden released a 10-year, $1.3 trillion plan as part of his election campaign. He says his plan will move to the U.S. into net zero greenhouse gas emissions to create jobs to expand the middle class. His spending includes $400 billion on a new federal program for energy research and innovation, $100 billion to modernize schools, and more money to focus on repairing roads and highways, rural broadband infrastructure, and transit projects. His claim will be funded by the reversing excesses of the Trump tax cuts for corporations, reducing incentives for tax havens, evasion, and outsourcing, ensuring corporations pay their fair share, closing other loopholes in our tax code that reward wealth, not work, and ending subsidies for fossil fuels.
Hi, today I will be talking about race in America. This is something that people take in consideration when it comes to voting. So let me tell you, what have Trump and Biden done for race in America? Biden has increased home ownership among minority communities and combat housing discrimination, improve accessibility to affordable higher education, and reduce student loans debt for minority students. Trump has maintained low employment rates for Black Americans as seen before the pandemic, strengthened minority-owned businesses. And now I will be going into depth of what Biden has done. Biden has laid out a comprehensive plan to address racial disparities within the United States on issues such as ranging from health to policing and zeroing in on measures to advance economy equality, including affordable education and housing. What Trump would like to do in depth. On June 11th, Trump spoke about a 4-step policy geared toward building safety and opportunity and dignity. He highlighted a need for increased federal supports towards minority-owned small businesses. These are some things that, as Americans, we should take in consideration. The election will be on November 3rd, 2020.
For the last 3 decades, the U.S. Congress and presidential candidates have argued over the need to reduce our use of fossil fuels to slow down global climate change. A year ago, 67% of Americans said the federal government was not doing enough to reduce the effects of global climate change. This year, catastrophic forest fires and record-setting hurricane season, along with data from across the globe, make it clear that climate change is not a possible future, but an increasing threat right now. For example, in 2019, 1 million tons of ice melted from Greenland's ice pack every minute. The two presidential candidates present voters with completely opposite stands on the issue. President Trump campaigned in 2016 on 3 main climate-related promises. 1, reviving the already ailing coal industry. 2, rolling back environmental regulations. And 3, pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. To summarize his administration's efforts on energy, Increases in natural gas production and renewables have continued to reduce coal mining and coal-fired power production. Of the 99 environmental standards and regulations his administration has attempted to eliminate, 72 are completed. These rollbacks include lowering mileage standards for cars and trucks, allowing more greenhouse gases from power plants, allowing more mining, oil and gas production on federal lands, fewer protections for threatened species, greater pollution on national parks. On the Paris Agreement, he is on track to complete the U.S. withdrawal from the agreement the day after the election, November 4th. Former Vice President Biden's climate action plan's overall goal is to make the country 100% clean energy and net zero emissions by 2050. The initial price tag for this proposal is $2 trillion over the next 10 years. For comparison, the COVID Response CARES Act had a price tag of $2.3 trillion. The plan has three main parts: invest in clean energy and climate research, and deploy clean energy across the economy. 2, build resiliency into infrastructure projects to withstand climate change. And 3, rally the rest of the world to meet the challenge as well. That would include rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement. President Trump and former Vice President Biden present us completely opposite positions on climate change, while both tout jobs as a result of their plans. President Trump sees inexpensive fossil fuels as the driver of jobs in the economy, while downplaying any environmental consequences. Biden thinks we need to take drastic action to revolutionize our energy infrastructure. American voters will decide which future they want Tuesday.
You heard them. The voters will decide. Now we have our textile terror.
Thursday, the Flock News became aware of several AHS students showing up to school in their pajamas, in their sleeping clothes, ladies and gentlemen. We investigated into this epidemic, tardiness, and PJ wearing, and we discovered that many of the students had not awakened in time to dress appropriately for school. We will do more investigation to cover this important topic.
If you would like to, Key Club has taken donations from now until November 6th for the Scott County Cradle Foundation.
Ooh. Next up is our AHS Ghostbusters.
Alright, hi, my name is Jacob Campbell, and I'm with my buddy Chance Gregg. We're the Ghost Hunters. And listen, you probably heard some names: Maddie, Bill. We're here to... Betty, are you with us right now? Stop. We are back, me and Chance, the Ghostbusters. We are here with Kathy Seago, and she will tell us her experience at Austin High School, what she's been through with Betty, Bill, and more.
Hi, so as you know, we have a ghost down in this hallway, aka Betty. But we've had some really eerie things that have been happening in the last couple of months. One being that the piano yelled no all by itself, and I actually have a recording of it. Very bizarre. And then Miss Tammy Davis, our other ghost hunter, came down and she was able to kind of talk with Betty and found out some interesting things, that Betty also knows somebody named Bill. But we've had some spooky things. Lights turning off, lights turning on, lights not going off. And also the office can also confirm this every night at 1:47.
The auditorium lights come on all by themselves and nobody knows how or why.
Welcome back, I'm Jacob, Chance is filming, and we're the Ghostbusters. So we just got done interviewing Kathy about Betty. What I have in my hand, obviously my phone. Some apps are fake. This app I consider reliable. So the bing you hear is the location of the spirit or ghost that is present. We think Betty's in here. We had very, very good evidence that Betty is in here because we have actually spoken to her, which we will get to in the next clip of the video. Second thing I have, you can hear her speak. And you can hear each other speak. You can hear any sound frequency on this thing. Down here, Oh. It is speaking to us right now. Let's ask. Betty, are you with us? Betty, are you with us? I'm here with Miss Davis, and she has a substantial amount of evidence on my ghost hunting case. With me and Chance, the Ghostbusters. Miss Davis?
Yes. I was called to Miss Sego's room, to the choir room, because the electric piano was kind of going crazy. And Miss Sego was trying her best to push all the different buttons to get it to actually sound like a piano. Unfortunately, they were having trouble with that.
Not only was the sound kind of wonky,
But also the tempo would go up and the volume would go up and then it would go back down. And so she sent me this recording ahead of time. And if you listen, you might hear that when one of the students yells, "Betty, stop," that the piano says a word back. So we'll let you see what you think it says. Ready?
Betty, stop!
We are rounding a new turn. Soar high, Eagles!